The everlasting Hive Color Bee Swarm Simulator is a very dangerous and risky one to get yourself involved in. Between the people who swear their soul to red, or the blue knights, or the white zeppelins, it is a very confusing and rough world out there for Bee Swarm Simulator players, which is why I'm here to talk about the best, or maybe best for you specifically, Hive color you should go for. This video is not here to settle the dispute between the Hive color battalions, if you will, but more so just to say, hey, there are these Hive colors, and this is the Hive color that you should probably go for depending on what kind of playstyle you want for your end game life in Bee Swarm Simulator. With that being said, let's move right into the content of the video, being the actual Hive colors and what they're used for. To begin, we have our blue hives, the macro hives. If you love looting honey and not a lot of action, then this is the hive for you. This hive is sadly only for people who can macro. So, with that being said, if you cannot macro or don't know what macroing is, you cannot go blue, or should not go blue. Macroing, though, is basically playing the game without playing the game. It's like using a robot and making him do everything that you should be doing in the game for you. It's extremely lucrative and one of the best ways to play Bee Swarm Simulator, despite the fact 90% of your time is going to be doing nothing but sleeping or work or whatever you do while your game macros. It's kind of boring and sort of frowned upon in the community, but it's whatever. We use Natro Macro, and I say we because I am a blue hive myself, but we use Natro Macro, or whatever macro we get, basically, to farm Pine Tree and do things for us around the map. Just pop on the macro at night and wake up to a whole bunch of loot and honey. The only real downside to the blue hives is that 90% of your time, like said before, is going to be used macroing, while the other 10% is just making sure your hive's up to date. Blue hives don't make nearly as much as red or white hives do at all in boosting, although we do have the cheapest hive when it comes to boosting, which is only just a purple potion and maybe whatever the try dice is, the one that rolls 3 times. I don't really know what it is. I don't play this game often. Okay, I'm new here. The other thing about it is that we also do not have any attack power. We are the weakest hive known to man. We suck at doing robo challenges, thanks to Lotto.net. But aside from that, we are actually quite rich and happy. We don't do much with our materials. We don't do much at all, actually. But yeah, we don't do much with our materials. We have a lot of it, which is why you see most players with 3,000, 200,000 pineapples, a bunch of blueberries with them, fully maxed out hives, and just a whole bunch of hoopla. We are definitely, and I'm biased on this, one of the best hives to go for at this point in time. However, if you can't macro, the next hive is going to be for you, which is red. Red hives are the boosting hives of Bee Swarm Simulator. These hives are for people who love attack power, big boosts, and always active on the game. Anyone can go red because it's not required to macro, although you probably will end up doing so anyway because macroing is so lucrative. Red hives are pretty expensive because they use a lot of materials to boost. Boosting is the lifeblood of this hive, however, because it's the only way for you guys to actually make money. So make sure you have a bunch of stingers and boosting materials on standby. As for the attack power, it's immense. It's literally called the attack hive. Red hives are the best at taking out bosses like stump snail, cocoa crab, and stick bug, and also, surprisingly, believe it or not, best hives at taking out puff shrooms. If you want to get to those mythical or legendary puff shrooms, I don't know why I said it in that order. It should be legendary and mythical puff shrooms. You want to use your red hive or get someone with a red hive, do it for you. The only downsides to red hives are that they are expensive. Not as expensive as the next hive we're going to get into, but they're still expensive. Boosts take a fair amount of materials, and a little goes a long way in Bee Swarm Simulator. All red hives do is boost as well, unless you're busy doing robo challenges, ant challenges, or puff shroom grinding. You are boosting, which I guess it's 4 different things you're doing, so you're not just boosting, but you know what, it's whatever, it's my video. And again, boosts are very expensive. Last part is unless you plan on macroing with your red hive, you won't get any or very many materials other than the ones that you get from actually playing the game when you're on. Okay, if you're not macroing, you're not making materials, or not making a massive amount of materials. And as we all know, late game, you're going to need a massive amount of materials, okay? It's just, it's the way the world works. It's the nature of the beast. But it has definitely grown in popularity over the past few months, being with the recent nerf, not recent really, but the nerf that happened to blue hives, which we can get onto in another video, because it's not that big of a nerf, by the way, guys. You nerfed blue bomb plus to blue bomb. That doesn't mean much, but that's for another video. Blue hives are still on top, buddy. I am 100% biased on that. And lastly, we have the infamous white hives. These hives are for people who are too rich for their own good. The only reason anyone is running a white hive is because they feel like they are a god walking among us to flex their superiority. These hives are the most expensive hives to run because of the sheer amount of gumdrops you need for it and to work. What? I wrote that wrong, but you get the point. A lot of gumdrops and a lot of materials are used for boosting. It is also a boosting hive. The other thing about this is that there is a huge downside with the fact that you need literally every single gumdrop material or item, I mean, you know, like the gummy baller, the gum baller, whatever you want to call it, the gummy boots and the gummy mask to actually run this hive effectively. If you do not have these items, you cannot run the white hive effectively. If you do try to run the white hive without these items, you will make less than blue. And that is pathetic because blue makes almost nothing compared to red and actually good white hives. If you do run a white hive that is with the materials required, you will be one of the richest players in the entire game. And I would rather not talk about you because there are so few people that are actually white. Despite the fact I actually saw like 2 people in the past few days that actually had white hives that were good. In terms of what the best hive is, in my opinion, I think you all understand by now what my best hive here, what I'm going to say here is blue hives. Blue hives, I am biased on that 100%. The macro hive. Well, they don't nearly make as much honey boosting. The other hives pale in comparison to blue when it comes to macroing. In addition to that, macroing is simply the most efficient way to play the game. You get so many materials, so much honey with the blue hive. It doesn't really mean anything when you have a red hive that can't make much honey while you're not playing the game. White is a no-go. Absolutely not. You will probably not go white hive if you're a new player. And if you are going white hive and you actually can do it efficiently, then Jesus Christ, you're probably smarter than me on this topic. Why aren't you making this video, buddy? And then if you have a red hive, it's either because you cannot macro, you don't know how to macro, or because you were brainwashed by all the videos coming out saying, hey, blue hives suck now, you should probably go red. You messed up, buddy. It's not too late to go blue, though.